Measure for Measure. Act 3, Scene 1, lines 1 to 258. What many are calling the English 320 Scene of the Year. A scene about a brother and a sister. The brother wants his sister to preserve her honor, then he changes his mind and would rather live. The brother asks his sister to give her virginity away to save his life. The sister is pissed. This could get ugly. Let's see. Starring in alphabetical order, Justin Anderson as Claudio, Danielle Bricker as Angry Isabella, Meg DeMaria as Kind Isabella and the Duke, and Stephen Clendenin as the voice of the provost and the cameraman.
Since when you hope for pardon from Angela?
The miserable have no other medicine, but only hope. I hope to live, but I'm prepared to die.
Be absolute for death, either death or life, shall thereby be the sweeter reason thus with life. If I do lose thee, I lose a thing, that none but fools would keep. A breath thou art, several to the sky influences, that dost this inhabitation where thou keepest. Hourly afflict, merely thou art a death's fool. For him thou laborest by the flight to shun, and yet runnest towards him still. Thou art not noble, for all the accommodations that thou bearest are nursed by baseness. Thou art by no means valiant, for thou dost fear the soft and tender fork of a poor worm. The best of rest is sleep, and that thou oft provokest, yet grossly fearest thy death, which is no more. Thou art not thyself, for thou exists on many 1,000 grains, that issue out of dust. Happy thou art not, for what thou hast not still thou strivest to get, and what thou hast forgettest thou art not certain, for thy complexion shifts to strange effects. After the moon, if thou art rich, thou art poor. For, like an ass whose back with Ignat's bloat bows, thou bearest thy heavy riches but a journey, and death unloads thee. Friend, hast thou none for thine own bowels, which do call thee sire, the merely effusion of thy proper loins, do curse the gout, Serpio, and the rheum, for ending thee no sooner. Thou hast nor youth nor age, but, as it were, an after-dinner sleep, dreaming on both, for all thy blessed youth becomes as aged as doth beg the arms of pleased eld. And when thou art old and rich, thou hast neither heat, affection, limb, nor beauty to make thy riches pleasant. What's yet in this that bears the name of life? Yet in this life he hid 1,000 deaths, yet death were fear that makes these odds all even.
I humbly thank you. To sue to live, I find I seek to die, and seeking death, find life. Let it come on.
What ho! Peace here, grace and good company.
Who's there? Come in. The wish deserves a welcome.
Most holy sir, I thank you.
My business is a word or two with Claudio.
And very welcome. Look, senor, here is your sister.
Provost, a word with you.
As many as you please.
Bring me to hear them speak, where I may be concealed.
Now, sister, what's the comfort? Sister?
Why, as all comforts are most good, indeed. Lord Angelo, having affairs to heaven, intends for you his swift ambassador, where you shall be in everlasting leisure. Therefore your best appointment make with speed. Tomorrow you set on.
Is there no remedy?
None but such remedy as to save a head, to clever a heart's twain.
But is there any?
Yes, brother, you may live. There's a devilish mercy in the judge, if you'll implore it, that will free your life, but fetter till death.
Perpetual durance?
Aye, just perpetual durance, a restraint, thou all the words of acidity you had, to determine scope.
But in what nature?
In such as one as you consider to it, would bark your honor from a trunk you bear, and leave you naked.
Let me know the point.
I do fear thee, Claudio, and I quake, lest thou a fever's life should entertain, and 6 or 7 winters more respect than a perpetual honor. Darest thou die? The sense of death is most an apprehension, and the poor beetle that were tread upon, in corporal sufferance finds a pang as great as when a giant dies.
Why give you me this shame? Think you I can a resolution fetch from flowery tenderness? If I must die, I will encounter darkness as my bride, and hug it in mine arms.
There spake my brother, there my father's grave did utter forth a voice. Yes, thou must die. Thou art too noble to conserve a life. In base appliances, this outward sainted deputy, whose settled visage and deliberate word nips you in the head, and follies doth immune. As falcon doth the fowl, is yet a devil, his fifth within being cast, he would appear upon as deep as hell.
The Prenzi Angelo?
Oh, 'tis the cunning lively of hell, the damnedest body to invest the cover. In presence guards, dost thou think, Claudio, if I would yield him my virginity, thou might be free?
Oh heavens, it cannot be!
Yes, it would give it thee from this rank offense. So, to offend him still, this night's the time that I should do what I abhor to name, or else thou diest tomorrow.
Thou shalt not do it.
Oh, were it but my life, I throw it down for your deliverance as frankly as a pin.
Thanks, dear Isabel.
Be ready, Claudio, for your death tomorrow.
Yes, has he affections in him that thus can make him bite the law by the nose? When he who would force it, sure it is no sin, or of the deadly seven it is the least.
Which is the least?
If it were damnable, he being so wise, why would he for the momentary trick be perdurably fine? Oh, Isabel!
What says my brother?
Death is a fearful thing!
And a shamed life a hateful.
Aye, but to die, and go we know not where, to lie in cold obstruction and to rot, this sensible warm motion to become a kneaded clod, and the delighted spirit to bathe in fiery floods, or to reside in thrilling region of thick-ribbed ice, to be imprisoned in the viewless winds, and blown with restless violence round about the pendant world, or to be worse than worst of those that lawless and uncertain thought imagine howling, 'tis too horrible. The wearisome, most loathed worldly life that age, ache, penury, and imprisonment can lay on nature is a paradise to what we fear of death.
Alas, alas.
Sweet sister, let me live! What sin do you do to save a brother's life? Nature dispenses with the deed so far that it becomes a virtue.
Oh, you beast! You, oh, faithless coward! Oh, dishonest wretch! Wilt thou be made a man out of my vice? Is it not a kind of incest to take life from thine own sister's shame? What should I think? Heaven shield my mother played my father fair, for such a warped slip of wilderness ne'er issued from his blood. Take my defiance, die, perish! Might but my bending down reprieve thee from thy fate, it should perceive. I'll say 1,000 prayers for thy death, no word to save thee.
Nay, hear me, Isabel!
Oh, fie, fie, fie! Thy sin's not accidental, but a trade. Mercy to thee would prove itself a bud. 'Tis best that thou diest quickly.
Oh, hear me, Isabel!
What are we going to do now?
Vouchsafe a word, young sister, but one word.
What is your will?
Might you dispense with your leisure, I would by and by have some speech with you. The satisfaction I would require is likewise your own benefit.
I have no superfluous leisure. My stay must be stolen out of other affairs, but I will attend you a while.
Son, I have overheard what hath passed between you and your sister. Angelo had never the purpose to corrupt her, but he hath made an essay of her virtue to practice his judgment with the disposition of natures. She, having the truth of honor in her, hath made him that gracious denial which he most glad to receive. I am confessor to Angelo, and I know this to be true. Therefore, prepare yourself to death. Do not satisfy your resolution with hopes that are failable. Tomorrow you must die. Go to your knees and make ready.
Let me ask my sister pardon. I am so out of love with life that I will sue to be rid of it.
Hold you there. Farewell.